If you think you see someone that others don't, you may be right. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Christina7658, the Redditor explains that a friend that works at a Subway in South Texas recorded this footage from a security monitor after a coworker kept seeing a cowboy who apparently wasn't really there. The bad quality of the footage is due to the fact that this happened more than 10 years ago. This is what the pair found when they reviewed it. A shadow figure is seen rising from the ground near the entryway. The mist-like figure appears to hover for a moment before making its exit through the window. This has most in the comments freaked out, with Typeractive Audie stating, "You can see his hat. I won't sleep tonight." Other Redditors like JCKCS Mama debunk the all too common insect on the lens theory by stating that the anomaly doesn't appear from the edges of the camera frame, as one might expect a crawling insect to. Instead, it seems to come directly from the ground. Christina also states that the anomaly appears to take on the window tint as it exits the building. She also notes that the worker who kept seeing the cowboy had seen it throughout her entire shift. There used to be another video of her washing dishes, and a black blob like the one in the video is next to her. Although she couldn't find the other video, the combination of events has many leaning towards the paranormal. Others suggest that corruption of the videotape or the camera's hardwire issues could be a more practical explanation. But is that what you're seeing here? What would you do if you came across this hairy humanoid in the wild? Published to YouTube in December of 2018, YouTuber Evangelica Salazar commented on the video. "This is a duende. It's a humanoid creature that is rare and talked about throughout the years. These infamous creatures dress themselves and live in deep holes in caves/forests. If this is indeed a duende, this strange folkloric creature's name comes from the Spanish phrase duende casa, which means professor of a house. Some describe the creature as a mischievous house guest. However, in other cultures, the hairy beast takes various turns. If this hairy creature is really a duende, you'd better watch where you step." Have you ever heard something in nature that doesn't sound natural at all? This video was cross-posted by Cursed Curses to the Chills Narrator subreddit, who thought these sounds were weird enough to share. Originally posted to What Is This by Sir M Sport, the Redditor explains that the strange sound seems to be originating from the woods and the sky surrounding his house in rural Georgia. He said although his phone ran out of battery, he heard the sounds long after the recording ends. The user asks the Reddit community for help in identifying the source of these sounds, after asking a few of his neighbors, who said they hadn't heard such noises before. One of these neighbors, who lives on a hill, said the sounds definitely seem to be coming directly from the sky. Listen closely. The noises sound like irregular high-speed traffic for a moment. But then another tone enters in, like a spaceship door opening. The murmur continues, oscillating slightly. There are many theories in the comments, with Wolfish Fluff coming up with one of the most likely theories, suggesting that it sounds like a power plant or generator farm. He notes the revving up sound could be the activation. He writes, "My guess is that there is one of these facilities somewhere in your area, and the sound is coming from the sky because you're far enough away that basically the sound is bouncing off the atmosphere and then traveling to you. This would cause the muffling and the distortion." Other less likely theories include alligators. unknown flying objects, or a big tunnel. Any other suggestions? What do you think these sounds may be? A paranormal YouTuber named CHZA Chad is in search of some real ghost sightings, so he goes exploring an abandoned hospital in Perrysburg, New York called the J.N. Adams Memorial Hospital. This old hospital is said to be haunted by patients from the early 1900s who on occasion will still show up for treatment in the hallway as a ghost. Chad soon separates from his team of fellow ghost hunters to explore the hospital on his own. The hospital is actually a collection of abandoned buildings, and Chad is determined to investigate as many of them as he can to discover which places are the scariest and most haunted of all. In another room, he finds and mistakenly handles a red container with a biohazard symbol. He doesn't look to see what's inside, but touching it at all probably wasn't a good idea. That's not his only concern. It's not long before he suspects there is a ghost in the hallway with him as well.
Really? Whoa. I was about to say I'm walking down this creepy hallway, but here's this stairway right here. Whoa. What was that? Right here. Whoa.
Creepy noises coming from both ends of the hallway leave him unsure where to turn next. He wanders across a room with a single chair inside of a pentagram, like a ritual of some kind has been performed here, one that we're probably better off not knowing about. It's a weird enough discovery to make him rejoin his group, who by this point are as creeped out as he is. While exploring a different floor, they find this bird helplessly flying wall to wall, even though there is an open window for it to go through.
Maybe that's why the bird is flying around like that. He probably knows something crazy happened right there.
It could be protecting a nest, but something feels wrong in this room, and they take the bird's confusion as a sign of negative paranormal energy in the air. They chose to investigate this area with high-tech paranormal equipment designed to translate ghost voices into speech using special voice recognition software. First it says the name Paul, followed by two more words.
Up here. Yo, is anything appearing on the screen right now?
Where?
Watch the screen.
Any blobs again?
Pure human is what Paul the Ghost says. I wonder if it's actually trying to say not appear, but rather up here, as in above them, possibly referring to the space where the bird was trying to go. Next, they place a backpack on the ground and invite Paul the Ghost to interact with it. At 22 minutes and 40 seconds, their paranormal equipment registers ghost sightings all around the object, and at 22 minutes and 55 seconds, the ghost kicks its bare foot off the backpack and disappears. One of the ghost hunters, named Herm, stands in front of the camera to verify that it is working correctly.
We're using electronics to see you. Whoa, that thing shot out of you.
It's like he's inside you, I think.
Their equipment has no problem detecting the ghost hunter as well as a solid black paranormal orb that shoots out of the space where he's standing. It's like he's inside you, I think, says the ghost hunter named Kasha. Tell me if you agree that this could be a possession caught on tape. Not much else happens for another minute or so, and they feel the paranormal energy start to fade from this cursed room. They catch one last ghost sighting in the corner of the room by the door, evidence that it's no longer interested in them in parting ways. But when Chad looks up, his camera refuses to go into focus, almost as if Paul the Ghost is in the hallway, watching them for one last time. Ryan Prunty is certain their estate is haunted after this creepy experience in their attic happened. Let's take a look at what he and his friend caught on tape and see if it's really paranormal.
Stove, I think it's all good up here, dude. We're gonna explore a little further. No.
Bro, it's
Isn't
locked.
it funny, Bailey?
I'm not
Open
kidding,
the door,
bro.
Bailey.
It's locked.
Bailey, open the door.
Look.
What is that?
It doesn't look like the door got stuck by itself. At 11 minutes and 34 seconds, the locking mechanism has been turned into a horizontal locked position. Someone, either a ghost or one of their roommates, must have been on the other side. They force open the door, and less than a minute later, this mysterious orb guides them to another weird event. No one else is home, and yet they see wet footprints outside of the shower that lead to nowhere. Maybe one of them showered and left, but I think most people would pick up the towel first. It's a creepy video, but all of these ghostly encounters would be easy to fake with the help of a third person. So I'm wondering if that's exactly what they did. A YouTuber who goes by the one and only Spud Bud has been hearing scary noises outside of his house every night. Strange and mysterious sounds coming from the sky. It always seems to happen between 4 and 5 in the morning when it's still dark outside. Listen to this and tell me what you would do if you were woken up by this noise. It's hard to tell if the sky sounds are coming from an animal or a machine, or perhaps even some living mixture of both. Whatever it is, it sounds tremendously large and about to crush his house. On Thursday, after 4 days of scary noises, the one and only Spud records the creepiest video of all. This is when it sounds less mechanical and more like a creature, but tell me what you think it is. A low rumble pierces the sky with enough force to make the floorboards of his house creak. One thing that makes me think this is real is how he never leaves his home to go outside. Instead, he paces around his house nervously hoping that the sound will go away. And it looks like a realistic reaction. Well, most people believe this is real. One person said they analyzed the clip and found it was edited. They said they would link the sound file but never did, so their claims have not been supported. Let me know if you have ever heard this noise from any movies or other popular media. Maybe together we can figure this one out. Beware of the shadows. When at Donovan Mill, the historic mining site in Silver City, Nevada, has a reputation, and it's not a good one. At least one documented incident of someone taking their own life has been recorded there. Perhaps it's the spirit from this unfortunate history that lingers in the mill. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, Facts by James TV writes, at 24 minutes 30 seconds you could see a shadow-like figure down the hallway at the very same space it is known to be haunted by a spirit named John that is very protective about that area. At the timestamp in question, you can see what James is talking about. He said he felt a presence, so they stopped and shined the flashlight down at the end of the hall. A small shadow figure appears there. Casting light down that way doesn't make it disappear. What do you think about this creepy catch? Would you have the guts to venture down the hall to investigate? A YouTuber named Joe's Paranormal TV decides to explore a haunted forest in Michigan in the early morning hours. The first thing they notice is how all of the trees look unnatural, like nothing they've ever seen before. In fact, the deeper into the forest they go, the stranger things seem to get.
What was that?
A metallic clang draws their attention, followed by faint cries in the distance.
You hear that? What the?
Joe thinks he sees moving shadows and tries to reassure himself that he and his friend are alone in the wilderness. Still, his camera's batteries are draining fast despite being brand new, and now he feels like he's being watched. Joe's equipment starts to malfunction for a moment. It clears up just in time to catch this noise.
It's creepy out here, man. I'm not sure what direction it came from, though. It sounded like right up ahead of us here.
It's the unmistakable sound of a baby crying. I think that they probably really did hear this, but let me know if you think it's real or edited. Anyway, they eventually find a clearing of slashed trees that have been rearranged into strange symbols. Maybe someone in the comments section can tell me if these are pagan symbols or not, and if so, what they mean and what they would be doing here. Eventually, Joe's terror becomes unmanageable, and he flees after he thinks he hears something close by. Strange voices continue to follow Joe and his friend as they make their way out. A live ceremony in France starts out normal enough until 7 minutes and 11 seconds when an object moves on its own like a ghost is about to throw it. The object levitates until the clergyman puts his hands down, at which point it stops. This happened on live TV in front of thousands, so someone tell me how it could be fake. Stranger still, a man in the audience claims to have seen a supernatural apparition in the dark doorway, a ghostly figure with a white face and hair who watches the ceremony from afar. The full version of this video has never been put online, to my knowledge, but this picture apparently shows the figure. I think there is a good chance that it is Photoshop, but it looks creepy and is worth mentioning. So if anyone out there is good with Photoshop, then let me know if this is a real picture, or if this scary face was edited. Have you ever played peekaboo with the paranormal? Redditor Paranormal Purgatory has posted to the Chills Narrators subreddit. He writes, an apparition was caught peeking around the door at a 150-year-old farmhouse mansion with tons of EVPs and footsteps, and a child asking for help and wanting us to play. At the moment in question, the Redditor is walking down a hallway when his battery starts running out. As he approaches a room, something is clearly peering around the corner at him. It moves quickly out of sight once it notices that it's been seen. The Redditor shouts "hey" at it. The thing is definitely a figure, not a lens flare, and can't be explained away as some technical glitch. Moreover, the Redditor clearly saw it in reality. The team thinks they, without a doubt, caught something paranormal on camera. Do you? I sure do. This video, posted in November of 2013, purports to show found footage of a graveyard sighting. The clip opens on a headstone reading Maria Melgar. A cross made of punched out holes is centered in the stone, making one man wonder aloud what was supposed to be placed in the holes. The cameraman zooms out, capturing his friend pointing in the distance. He says that's where the grave is. They zoom in closer on the figure. It does appear to be tall and slender, and apparently is standing right in front of the cameraman's brother's grave. The figure is dressed in a suit, seems to be bald, and has an extremely pale face. Is this Slender Man? Or just some creep in a cemetery? I guess we'll never know for sure. Move over, Loch Ness Monster. The Yangtze River has its own mysterious creature, trekking the river's muddy depths. Published in September of 2019, this river monster spotted off a Yangtze pier was caught on camera swimming slowly, its tail swaying from side to side. The creature really does look alarmingly like old Nessie. Maybe Scotland should check if its iconic monster skipped town, but who knows, the Yangtze itself might just be full of its own cryptids. Somebody's watching you. Posted to Instagram by Henry Cavill. This clip is seemingly just a simple, albeit incredible instructional video, in which Superman actor Henry Cavill puts together a gaming PC. But not everything is as it seems. As Henry pieces this monster together, sharing his expertise, the project turns into an all-day event and darkness falls outside. That's when you see this eerie face in the window. In the comments, memes like one points it out to Henry, writing, "There is a creepy face behind the window. What is that?" Well, Cavill has no answer. Miss Nightmare does, suggesting it might be a ghost or a lurker. Well, Danny Maiden thinks it's a Joker painting. What do you think it is? Just an altogether eerie reflection? Or is something or someone lurking on Henry? Not only do you have to worry about pyrotechnic incidents at work, you might have to worry about ghosts as well. YouTuber Joey Nike 12 posted this video of a store he claims is haunted in Kingsville. At the beginning of the video, he tells a coworker, "Let's go record that room," before heading to the haunted room in question. They set a video camera up to record the purportedly paranormal activity that occurs in this room. About 3 minutes into the footage, you can see a dustpan move ever so slightly, and then not ever so slightly. It falls over, and a moment later, the door next to it slams closed. The boys re-enter the room nonchalantly, not knowing the strangeness that has just occurred there, but after coming across this video that went too far, they may not want to enter this haunted storage room ever again. If you saw someone in a window just standing and staring, what would you think? Would you consider it abnormal? Would you be concerned about their mental state? These Lithuanians saw this strange staring man as cause for concern when they posted this video to their YouTube channel. Reposted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Martillo, the Redditor writes, "Couple of Lithuanian YouTubers are driving with other couple friends around the city and they come across this strange guy in his apartment. They're saying that he maybe is possessed. The windows in the building across from the Lithuanian's car are all darkened, apart from one brightly lit window on the second floor. There stands a man appearing to stare out into the night, oddly still. Upon closer inspection, the man looks like he's rolling his head around, before turning to the side and staring off again. He stares forward for a time, this having gone on for a solid minute, before turning around and switching off the light in his apartment, likely because he notices the men outside are shining their light up at his window, watching him." Martillo notes that although the men in the video are laughing, the image of someone staring out their window blankly is somewhat scary. He says the behavior is strange. While that may be so, you could argue the same for the behavior of the occupants of this car. Years ago, everyone was talking about a possible witch sighting on the side of the road in India that went viral. Now a second scary video is making rounds, this one possibly taken from around the same area. An older traveler with a cane appears to be walking down the middle of the road at night in bright white robes. As the driver gets closer, he is surprised to find the strange man is taking steps, but not moving forward, almost like a ghost. Tell me what they are saying here, because they sound excited and I would really like to know what their real reaction to a ghost sighting was. Then the strange figure begins to walk backwards in slow, jerky movements, without so much as even looking behind him once. This is probably one of their friends, but if they actually caught a real ghost on camera, like they think they have, then I guess the paranormal apparition would have no reason to fear cars. And after all, the worst has already happened, and now this feeble ghost is forever forced to explore the haunted road, where potentially its life came to pass. A YouTuber named Jimmy Maya is in the middle of a windswept field when he finds the absolute last thing you'd ever want to discover while metal detecting.
Okay, well, next target is a bomb. I could scratch that one off the bucket list. Wow, that thing is heavy.
Jimmy does not seem afraid to handle the heavy object, which makes me think that maybe this was a dud. He says that there was once an active base near this location. Jimmy observes a random string of characters on the side of the object. If anyone can use this information to identify what kind of device this was, then I would really like to know. Maybe together we can figure out how much actual danger Jimmy Maya was in at the time. A YouTuber named Jude the Cool Dude is making a video tour of his house when he discovers something new on the 3rd floor.
Wait. Wait, is that a door?
Concealed behind a hidden wall panel is a cramped room with extremely small furniture, including a tiny table with a single candle for light. Terror spreads across Jude as it dawns upon him that he could very well be standing in the hiding spot of an intruder who has been living here for some time. It even looks like whoever inhabited this place may have rerouted the wiring to divert power to this part of the house. It's almost impossible to tell if this video was staged or legitimate, but with all of the stories I've read about people living in houses for years without being discovered, I really wouldn't be surprised if this was real. Either way, Jude decides to quietly close the trapdoor and never mention this find again. Uday Hindi is exploring an old building when he comes across a little girl staring at him from the corner of the room.
والله خايف أدخل ما كانت هذيك بسم الله.
The door furthest away from both of them shuts all by itself before he gets a chance to investigate. Despite this, Uday Hindi bravely pushes into the next room and discovers she is not a girl, but rather a creepy life-size doll. He roughly handles the doll from room to room and throws it on the floor, and that's when the doll decides it's had enough.
يا إخوان أنا انسحبت من المغامرة مش خوف ولكن أنا تأذيت كثير.
I saw no strings when the doll moved, did you? Anyway, he is busy analyzing some strange and possibly demonic markings on the doll when suddenly this happens. Watch and try and translate what he says shortly before it goes all wrong.
طلعوا يا إخوان حتى الإشي داخلي.
This part I feel like could have been from the way the doll was leaning on the wall before it fell, but the incident before that I feel could be quite real. Why would you ever chase a ghost? Ask these children who came across one while playing at night. The description of this video explains that a week after a woman took her own life, the residents claim that a female ghost with long hair was plaguing the area after curfew. Children were trying to catch a bird in the area at night, when instead they found the ghost and gave chase. In the footage, the children are crying out and laughing as they chase a figure dressed in white along the railway. The figure is seen in a distance in the darkness. It appears to be walking slowly, swaying slightly. The boy follows just as slowly behind it, keeping a safe distance from the figure. Kids in the background eventually start crying. At the end of the video, the figure leaves the tracks and disappears in the darkness. If you ask me, they're lucky they didn't catch it. Mo Sargi is exploring an old train station that's supposed to be haunted. A few things happen during this expedition, two of which are so subtle that no one notices. The group keeps saying that they hear a little girl crying, but you can't hear it very well, so I won't bother including it here. Still, at around 6 minutes and 50 seconds into the video, they come across very tiny handprints smeared across the window of a train. None of them seem to notice, but if you look closely, you'll see them here. Maybe these prints belong to whoever or whatever was crying earlier. Later, Mo and his friends are joking about a ghost named Tom, when suddenly a voice chimes in.
Is Tom a girl?
I think Tom is here.
Tom a girl?
Many people think that the voice is clearly saying hi. Let me know if you hear it and whether or not you agree. The three friends eventually trip an alarm and rush off the property, completely unaware of the numerous paranormal encounters they have recorded. Home alone at night? This creeper might just be peering in the window at you. Originally posted to YouTube by group member Ariane Childress of VBEINC's channel. This image is sure to haunt you. A woman in her home films her dark window pane as it looks like a man is staring at her. Although the features are vague, the image reflected definitely looks like a face. The woman takes a few pics as well. The lurker disappears for a moment when her camera moves, but then he's back again leering. Reddit is mixed about this image, with some saying it's seriously creepy and others theorizing it can easily be explained. Redditor Crystal Siren wonders how the woman remained so calm, writing, "If I saw that, I'd have to close the curtains immediately and been unable to sleep for days." However, New Vin suggests It's pareidolia. Pareidolia is when someone incorrectly sees objects they recognize in random shapes or patterns. For instance, seeing a face in the clouds. As many note, this looks like it's probably a reflection, being that whenever she moves, the face gets distorted or disappears. Whether it's pareidolia, a reflection, or something more nefarious, we'll never know. Real life lurker or not, you can't really blame this woman for looking over her shoulder. Published to YouTube by Vision Paranormal in August of 2018. The channel writes in Spanish that an unidentified sense of fear was pressing upon employees at some government office in Mexico City. Some claim to have seen a monk on the grounds. The channel writes, always at dawn you can hear wailing and screaming until one day the security camera managed to capture that chilling being that scared them every night. Let's take a look. This image was captured in September of 2009 at 1:46 a.m. It appears to be a hooded paranormal figure descending the stairs and moving very slowly through the building. Could this be the so-called cursed monk who's creating such fear within? If so, what did he do to provoke such wailing and screaming? What you don't know can't hurt you, right? A YouTuber named Dark Exploration Films is checking out an old abandoned police station in New York City to see what he can find. He makes his way through some old dark service tunnels and finally comes out on the other side. The police station starts off as a series of twisting hallways filled with old electronics, paper documents, and various forms of evidence. As Dark Exploration Films goes deeper, he finds a lonely medical wing filled with abandoned beds. The walls look particularly clean until he comes into a final room that looks absolutely wrecked.
Guys, I have no idea what we just walked into, but it's clear it's a medical room.
On the floor, he finds a red stain that he thinks is absolutely real, and based on the realistic splatter pattern, I tend to agree. He steps over it and finds one last scary item, a bright orange biohazard container with the lid open. The container is pretty much empty, but it doesn't exactly look clean. Hopefully the mysterious white powdery substance inside is just chipped paint flakes and not something that is dangerous to inhale. I wish him the best, but I hope there's more info on what was in that container. Devin Brosiv and his friend Brian find the creepy remains of a decrepit hairless doll in the woods one day. They want to take a video of the bizarre find, so Devin goes back to get his phone. When he returns a short time later, the doll is not in its original spot.
Brian, I found it. It's moved. Look. Oh my god, that thing is creepy.
Somehow the doll had become entangled under a thick pile of brush within the brief period of time that it took for them to get a phone and come back to the spot. The two friends record it for a bit and then leave. 2 days later, they get a random impulse to check on the doll again. A light snow now covers the forest floor, though they are confident that they can find the doll again easily. This time, in place of where the doll's head and body used to be, they find its missing leg. Either somebody has been ripping dolls apart and moving around the body parts all over the forest, which is creepy enough, or I guess this doll has been doing it on its own. Both are simply terrifying. If something falls from above, the universe may be trying to tell you something. Published to YouTube in June of 2020 by MD Vines Official. This will leave you shaking. Out in the jungle at night, a group is discussing something while standing outside of this obscure structure. The moon is full above. They start to see a small point of light blinking in the darkness. They follow it as it moves. Then all of a sudden something heavy like a brick falls from above. The group starts running like mad. What just tried to take their lives? Whatever it is, the creature is vengeful. They better watch their step. On occasion, images caught on a baby monitor can give you pause. Other times, they're downright paralyzing. Published to TikTok by Martin, the TikToker thinks this is a monster. A baby is turning restlessly in his crib. You can see a dark form at the head of the crib, but it's not yet clear if it's just an innocuous shadow cast by something in the room. But as the baby turns onto his stomach, two glowing eyes blink open and thin, smoky fingers reach into the crib from the side. Is this a spirit, an alien, a monster, a human intruder? Whatever it is, get that baby out of there and fast. Anyone who's ever pulled a prank knows that it can quickly go too far. No one more so than YouTuber FaZe Rug. In a prank video posted in December of 2017, FaZe Rug writes, "Today I decided to do the scariest prank I've ever done, and we took it a little too far. She ended up crying, but the prank was a success."
What was that?
Just how scary was this prank? Well, imagine chatting and watching TV with your cousins when you hear a knock on your second floor balcony window. Ryan had climbed a ladder to the roof in order to pull off this prank, and it proved successful as his targets jumped in fear at the noise. But that wasn't the end of it. Ryan next shakes the handle of the balcony door in a frenzy, causing the trio to race from the room.
What is that?
He hops to another balcony, slamming on the door as well. Nu, the girl being pranked, then calls Ryan, asking where he is, and telling him there's someone outside the home.
Ryan!
Ryan claims to be getting food, and seemingly happy that he made Nu so distressed. He tells her they're on their way, donning a freaky mask.
Ryan?
What?
Ryan, where are you? Ryan, where are you?
We're getting food, why?
Ryan knocks on the window one last time before hopping to the opposite balcony and bursting through the door that they had previously unlocked. Seeing the masked intruder reveal that he's actually their cousin, the boys laugh the prank off, but Nu looks clearly pretty upset about it. Would you be able to find this funny? Or would the stoking of your fear and adrenaline go too far? YouTuber Yvonne thinks her apartment is haunted. Posted in January of 2018. Yvonne writes that she heard a clanking noise in her home and turned on the camera to try to capture the noise. She notes in the video description, "Our cabinets are brand new, no way for any rodent to get in. Also, they are the kind that don't swing shut on their own. You have to physically close them." The short clip shows a shot of her kitchen, assumedly from where the sound was coming. After a moment, a large clattering is heard as a cupboard opens of its own accord, and something from inside falls to the floor.
Oh my god.
This isn't the first case of odd happenings in the home. According to Yvonne, strange occurrences have been going on for a while. What do you think? Is it time to move? This creepy video comes from the equally creepy TikTok handle, I'm Watching, uploaded by user 2439525375589. The video shows someone indeed watching, taken from the vantage point of the watcher itself. A large sharp blade is used to open a home's window shutters slowly until a crack wide enough is made to look inside. Someone can be seen at home, appearing oblivious to the person who's watching them, going about their business and shutting off the light. The watcher leaves shortly after. While creepy in and of itself, the soundtrack to the video certainly ups the ambience. When you hear footsteps approaching your room, you'd better lock the door. Posted by Eli Walt KG to the Ghosts subreddit. This clip captures something invisible entering the Redditor's room. Turn up the volume and you can indeed hear footsteps as Eli films the door of his bedroom. Then quietly the door creeps open. While most can agree this would make a normal person freeze, some commend the Redditor's bravery while others, like Redditor B565656 warn him, have you learned nothing from horror movies? You don't walk towards the sound in the dark. Totally, who knows what's lurking in the darkness beyond that door? It's a shark, it's a duck, it's neither of those things at all. In September of 2017, YouTuber Jack Heath posted this video of an unidentified creature swimming in a river. He asks his audience to weigh in, saying his friends couldn't decide if it is a shark or a duck. The short clip shows a dark river at night, lights reflecting off the water. For a good 20 seconds, you can't see anything at all, although you can hear voices speculating on whether something unseen is a shark or a duck. That is, until this spooky ghost white creature nearly surfaces at the edge of the water.
It's a duck! I'm sorry. Oh, look, stop spoiling it! That is exactly how it happened, so here it comes.
Doesn't look like a shark or a duck at all. As YouTuber Tweedle notes in the comments, his friends were obviously talking about what caused the wake in the water earlier in the clip, not this unidentified monster that briefly appears up close towards the end. Is a plesiosaurus or something like that. He writes, though they're originally from a time period of many millions of years ago, so are alligators. They're thought to be extinct, but maybe they're not. After all, they wouldn't be the first creature thought to be extinct that's found to be still alive. While this might seem like a good guess, the OP mentions in the comments that the ghastly creature was just an eerily convincing art installation. Whoever thought art could make your heart stop? Things can get out of hand. This video reveals when people and things have gone just a little too far. Sometimes those darndest things send chills down our spine. This video will make you question the afterlife. Tariq Elite writes, a woman goes to her mother's grave to visit. Her little girl seems to be waving and talking to someone and even kisses them.
What are you waving at, Leigh?
Bye, kids. Bye-bye. Yeah. Bye.
Tariq goes on to ask if it's true that they can see into spiritual realms. The video shows a sweet girl, likely not older than 2, standing near a headstone waving. She appears to be looking up into the nothingness but seeing something. She greets the invisible specter, standing on the top of the grave to get a better look. She even reaches with one pointed finger before dismounting from the grave. Some in the comments suggest that the young girl's frequency hasn't been fully compromised yet by the earth, while others say that our ancestors are always with us. Do you agree? Are young ones able to visually access a frequency that we're not capable of reaching? This video seems to be proof that there really is something just beyond the veil. The video of this home was originally published in December of 2013. The uploader explains that he was woken by someone pounding at his door and ringing the doorbell around 1:35 in the morning, setting off his barking dog alarm. He assumes the 2 guys outside were pleading for help with the intention of entering their home. Luckily, the homeowner's steel front door and his common sense prevented the would-be intruders from taking further action. They eventually left. The whole scenario is terrifying, but a closer look at the security footage that seems to have been captured in the same home 2 years later in February of 2015 turns up something even creepier. A shadow person seems to manifest on the living room wall and is seen walking from the hallway towards the front door. Is it just some sort of visual remnant of the homeowner on the clip, or did a spirit invade his home when he wasn't looking? Considering both of these insanely creepy incidents, I'd have to agree with Redditor, just a touch too much, who writes simply, time to move. Ghost Adventures of Cornwall is the name of a paranormal investigation channel in the UK, who says that out of all of the haunted places they've ever explored, this abandoned house is one of the scariest and most active of all. Mark and Haley see a lot of creepy paranormal stuff, and it's all caught on live stream. At 2 minutes and 34 seconds, they see something strange that they think is a ghost. A soft light passes across another room that Mark says was not his. The light looks like it could have been from his flashlight at first, until you zoom in and see that the ghost light actually originates on its own and does not match his camera movements at all. It's not Haley's light either, because as far as I can tell, she doesn't have one. Mark says that the ghost orb returns at 6 minutes and 48 seconds, and this time you can clearly see his camera is pointed straight at the window when this ghost light goes up the wall and disappears.
Look at these curtains, man. Oh, something keeps touching me, Haley.
I think that something was touching him because his camera malfunctions at the same time he feels a ghost nearby. Then later, a small blue ghost orb is in the window and it stays in the same spot even when he turns away. And when they set up a spirit box in this area to let the ghost communicate with radio airwaves, a female voice says hello. Tell me if you hear a ghost EVP say hello because I do. A sense of desperation lends a sharpness to her voice that makes me jump. A disembodied ghost voice sounds like she does not want to be condemned to haunting this abandoned house. The paranormal investigation must go on though, and so he is brave and keeps talking to the ghost, wanting to know more. It's a big mistake.
Are you alone? Can you knock? Whoa!
Time to play.
Be careful, someone.
Time to play. That's weird.
What?
It said time to play and then that one.
Who just said time to play?
Whoa.
You're playing games with me.
At this point, the paranormal investigation has definitely gone wrong, and judging from what the spirit box had to say, a supernatural presence has probably attached itself to them. Either a demonic possession or a curse, an evil spirit can make themselves sound lost and confused to gain the trust of paranormal explorers, so maybe that's what happened here. When you're laying down some beats alone at night, the last thing you want to see is a phantom specter drift past a window out of the corner of your eye. This video was posted by East Coast Radio's YouTube channel in October of 2013. In the description they write, "In the middle of Shershin's late night show, the lights and desk shut down and a mysterious figure appeared in the studio area. This area is secured, nobody can get in it without fingerprint authorization, and shows no one entered the studio complex apart from Shershin himself. If we take the studio's word for it, you must admit that such events would be creepy, and when you watch the video itself, you feel even more unnerved. The shot shows Shershin at the mixing console, the lights dancing up and down the table, all the lights in the studio are on. A moment later, they all shut off. Apart from the computer monitors and emergency lights, darkness falls over the studio. Shershin picks up the phone to call someone and stands up. Watch the window off to his right. A dark hulking figure lurks past, which seems to alarm Shershin, as no one is supposed to be in the studio. He heads over to the window to get a better look before returning to the phone. The mysterious figure doesn't appear again. While likely not a phantom, as the mystery man looks too solid to be supernatural. What would an intruder be doing entering a studio at night, being that no theft was mentioned? It doesn't seem like burglary was the motive, and why did the lights go out? All very mysterious. Do you think you know what caused this? What would you do if you ran into a massive python in the paranormal all in one night? Published to YouTube in June of 2020 by Catch 'em All Fishing. That's exactly what happened to this explorer as he trapezed through the ramshackle underground city. In fact, Zach seems to have gone here specifically to look for snakes. The abandoned place is, in and of itself, creepy enough. He keeps shouting hello as he begins his journey, and his echo rings eerily throughout the enormous space. The dark, damp place seems like the perfect breeding ground for snakes. At one point, around 4 minutes and 15 seconds, Zach appears to capture the beam of a flashlight bouncing off a distant wall. He also hears voices. He may not be alone down here. He rushes over to see who else is there, but he says the voices have stopped. Then he hears the haunted voices again. It's more like a moaning, which is made even more terrifying by the echo. Then at 5 minutes and 53 seconds, Zach abruptly turns to a doorway, seeming to sense something there, and it appears that something is there. If you watch in slow-mo, an obscure figure is standing in the darkness of the opposite room. Although he got the heck out of there, Zach's night didn't end there. As he's driving home, he crosses paths with what he'd been looking for all along, a snake. Zach chases down an enormous python. He manages to grab it by the tail while the snake tries to bury its head in the sand. He grips the snake near its head and shows the audience its fangs as the python starts to wrap its thick body around his arm. I think this is exactly why you should never grab a python. Zach tries to release the snake into a bag and does manage to collect him and zip him inside without getting tagged. Between encountering what may have been the paranormal in the underground city and prying this python from his arm, one thing's for sure, this dude has nerves of steel. Creator subreddit. This redditor writes, I've been getting haunted for a while now, and now it's messing with childhood pictures of me. In the clip, the kid says his door won't stop opening, and in that moment it's flung open. Shortly after, a series of pictures falls slightly from the wall and starts to swing. Is this a demon, as the redditor suggests? Another redditor in the comments thinks it may be a ghost or a spirit, but likely not a demon. He offers advice writing, ask it how you can help, maybe research your house to see what may have happened there. Other redditors like iPro the Floor thinks this video looks legit. I'm genuinely scared for you, he writes. I think we all are. The Martinez twins are both excited about moving into a new house with an old friend. They are arguing over which rooms belong to who, when one of them notices a locked door leading to an unexplored part of the house. None of them have a key, so they pick the lock and step into a plain room with an empty chair. The old chair gives off a creepy vibe. It must have belonged to one of the previous owners. They are talking about what to do with it when suddenly they notice an attic entrance that needs to be checked out. They forget about the chair for now and climb a wooden ladder into a darkened attic, even though the insulation is making them cough, and one false step could send them falling through the ceiling. The group is determined to get to the other side and see what they can find. A small box is waiting for them at the end of their crawl space, but they don't open it up right away, choosing to look at a pile of old magazines from the 1920s instead. When they turn their attention back to the box, they find this old mysterious broken thing inside.
Bro, there's like a toy, bro. It works from here. Wait.
The others try to stop him, but it's too late. An eerie song fills the empty dark attic space, perhaps for the first time in many years.
That's creepy. Bro, you wanna hold him? Oh wow, that's creepy.
There's an old Bible even farther back in the attic, but when the music box starts playing a few more notes all by itself, they decide they've seen enough and leave quick.
I stop it. Wow, that's creepy. Okay, let's go.
All of these things seem like the perfect indications of a classic haunting that I certainly would want nothing to do with, but I'm curious what you think. A YouTuber decides to take on the Candyman challenge at home all by himself. He leaves the lights on and recites the name of the cursed urban legend 5 times. This is supposed to summon the real Candyman, a tall figure with a hook for a hand that the movies were later based on, but it doesn't work, so he decides to say the name 5 more times. A different Candyman challenge by a YouTuber named Kenny Bilski looks slightly more authentic. He waits until 3 AM to try and capture the Candyman on camera, and it all goes wrong upon reciting his name for the 5th and final time.
Candyman. 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 Candyman.
Kenny is waiting to get jumped by the hook-handed maniac himself, but nothing happens, so he bravely decides to try again.
Okay, Candyman. 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 Oh! Oh! No. What the? Okay, I'm getting the out of here. I'm getting the
2 loud noises occur, one on the other side of the garage door, followed by a second bang right beside him, and then the garage door opens. I was waiting for Candyman to be standing on the other side, but Kenny nopes out of there before we get a chance to see it for ourselves. I don't see anyone's shoes on the other side, so I'm guessing no one is there, and he opened it with a remote control. But when he swings the camera around at 4 minutes and 54 seconds in the mirror, you can see the head and shoulders of a shadow figure peeking from around the corner, a possible Candyman sighting from the shadows. What goes up must come down. Posted by V. Fieldson on TikTok, as Fieldson walks beside a house, capturing a bicycle lying in the middle of the sidewalk. He pulls the shot upright, catching the roof of the house in frame. Someone is up there watching him. The watcher appears to be filming him too. At least he seems to be holding something with a light on. He rushes from view and darkness envelopes him. Of course, this is TikTok, so that's where the clip ends. However, as we know, what goes up must come down. After all, he's got to come down from that rooftop eventually. This video, posted in July of 2008, claims to show something unknown on a foggy winter day. As some boys play on some random tubes in the forest, one of the boys points out something in the distance. The boy filming zooms in but doesn't at first capture whatever it was. The first boy says it must just be an animal that went into the woods. They decide to go after it. The cameraman captures a humanoid figure at a distance, which he believes to be a yeti. Many in the comments of this video think it is legit, probably one of the most authentic videos I've seen. Icy Waterslide writes, "What do you think? Is this true footage of one of the most mysterious monsters on the planet?" This is the story of the Cage of St. Osith, published on the website The Ghost Hunt UK in January of 2018. A writer and paranormal investigator by the name of Brad Mack gives a little background about himself and his family of dream chasers who love haunted locations, the supernatural, and investigating the lives of those who stick around after having long passed. According to Brad, he's seen some crazy things in his time as a paranormal investigator, but this piece of evidence is the most terrifying. During the Dark Ages, Essex was basically the Salem of the UK. Lots of so-called witchcraft and witch hysteria, resulting in spirits remaining there centuries later. For 4 centuries, the cage in question was locked up in a single building that had a separate cell for those who were considered witches. You can be sure it's left its mark. According to stories about the old place, one of the tenants who bought the place in the 19th century sold it just 2 weeks after buying it for a third of the initial cost, likely due to whatever he'd experienced inside the home. According to the current tenant, took his own life in the master bedroom after becoming a recluse. Even more chilling, there is an old mental asylum opposite the cage which is also reputably haunted, as well as a haunted 2-door pub down the street. Now to the events that were caught on camera on December 2nd, 2017. During the investigation of the cage, Brad's Mel meter, an EMF measurement tool, kept fluctuating a lot. To add to that, whispers and heavy footfalls were heard throughout the night, and lights flickered frequently. Brad also claims to have been pinched on the leg, and he managed to capture what he calls stick figures on camera. When he tried to touch one of the figures, it recoiled, but the thing that frightened him most was caught on iPhone footage from CCTV at around 3 a.m. This video shows the master bedroom, which Brad calls the most hostile room in the house. Placing a camera and walkie-talkie in the bedroom, Brad and Dave watched from downstairs, along with flickering lights. Brad heard a growl and 3 bangs of a door. Then they called over the walkie-talkies. As they couldn't see one of the volunteers on camera, another volunteer answered that she was right next to her, but the only thing they saw in her place was not Debbie. This is Debbie. This is what they captured on film. Is this a trick of the light? Has Debbie been possessed by something evil? Or is this not Debbie at all, but rather the ghost of a witch? Either way, based on the story of this place and the footage captured, it looks real to me. When you enter a graveyard, you may not leave alone. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, Scream Gaming writes, "This was caught in a cemetery when we were leaving. All 4 of us got chills at the time, and it felt like something left with us. In the short clip, the group is heading out of the driveway of the cemetery when you see a figure on the side of the road. According to the Redditor, they caught this creepy thing on video where in reality there was nothing, just grass and a telephone pole. Do you see it?" Redditor Treadway0311 does, writing, "There definitely was something there and then gone. But what was it? And where did it go?" This scary moment, taken by the McD3 in the Isle of Palms, South Carolina, shows how even a relaxing family vacation at the beach is never truly safe.
Hey, get her out!
The mother has her back turned and misses it, but the father sees a small shark fin and tells her to run away. I don't think the juvenile shark was actively going after them, but what's really scary when you think about it is how the deep sea creature has already gone past before it gets noticed. Had the shark been just a few feet closer to shore, it would have been directly in their path. And we all know that when sharks are surprised, they rely on their teeth to get out of the situation. It doesn't look like anyone else is in the water, but if there is a nearby lifeguard, then I hope they report the shark so they could get everyone to safety. Thank you so much for getting me to 20,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 30,000 subscribers next. Thank you.